I used to think practicing mindfulness was a universal good, but I was wrong. For many people, the way that they practice mindfulness just prolongs their burnout and stops them from making the right decisions for them. The problem is when the focus is on reducing the stress rather than removing the source of stress in the first place. I was starting to burn out when I was managing my full-time job and my side hustles. I lived in a constant state of strain as I struggled to juggle these different priorities. Going for walks, practicing yoga, doing other healthy habits helped, but only fleetingly. What I really had to do was quit my job to regain control of my energy again. I've heard way too many tech founders talk about how they meditate in the mornings and that lets them do 100-hour work weeks. That's really toxic. 42% of women and 35% of men said that they felt consistently burnt out in 2021. That's not okay and that shouldn't be normal. Life is too short to be sacrificed in this way. If you want to rid yourself of the cancer of burnout, you have to stop making it bearable. Whenever I had a cold, I'd always wolf down oranges in the hope that the vitamin C would magically make me better. But in reality, it's better to have that vitamin C in your diet anyway, and then if your immune system is stronger, then you'll be able to deal with the colds and illnesses that come your way. Some people treat their mental well-being in the same way. They'll only take a rest once they feel overwhelmed. But the thing is, if you take rest beforehand, that way you don't get overwhelmed in the first place, which is much better, obviously. Mindfulness, healthy habits, all of those things work best when you practice them when you're in a good place too, not only when it's a crisis mode. If you've ever experienced burnout, you know that the strain makes everything harder, and it's not the best time to try out new skills. When I did karate, it'd be a really bad idea to get into the rink and then try to decide how I was going to fight back. That's all done in the training beforehand when times are good, and that's what prepares you for when times are bad. I've encouraged people to use breathing techniques in the past, and they're scientifically proven to help with anxiety. But if you follow experts such as James Nestor or Dr. Angan Chatterjee, they always tell you that it should be part of your daily habit, regardless of how you feel, because that way you build up the resilience to take on whatever comes your way. I have a podcast all about balance with people who are very ambitious and strive for higher targets. And some of the people who have come on have said that you need to hit rock bottom in order to make a change in your life. And I completely disagree. I don't need to jump off a cliff to know that jumping off a cliff is a really bad idea. Many people think of burnout as a single breakdown, but some people stay in a burnout state for months or even years. They'll try different ways of managing it, but they won't make the hard decisions even when those decisions are within their power. I've known people who worked in investment banking for almost a decade, and they're always exhausted. They're looking for ways to numb their pain. So they look at fine dining, expensive watches, travel, drink, drugs. Nothing works for very long, and then they continue in a job they hate. It brings to mind the quote often misattributed to Albert Einstein, which is, insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Earlier in my 20s, I travelled to over 10 countries a year using my vacation leave. But was I running towards where I wanted to go, or was I running away from the life that I had? If you truly want to avoid burnout, you need to design a life where you don't need to escape from it. If you know your current situation isn't working for you, then try to change either your mindset or your environment. And experiment with low-risk activities. So I just started writing on the side for fun. And my first article went viral, and that's now led me down a completely different path. Why is it that when we break our legs, we go straight to the hospital? But when we feel broken inside, we just suffer in silence. You don't have to fight mental battles alone. You don't have to fight mental battles alone. You don't have to fight mental battles alone. One of the most important steps when dealing with burnout is admitting how you feel. It should be either to someone you trust or to a trained professional. When nobody knows about the problem, it's too easy to try and distract ourselves and hope the problem goes away by itself. Despite all the progress in reducing stigmas, a burnt-out mind can quite easily believe that the empty void they feel inside is better than trying to deal with their problems. Yet people who care for you will want to be there for you, even if it's just being a shoulder to cry on. Adam Earhart quit the job he hated as a jet pilot, and his wife encouraged him to go into marketing because she thought that he would love it. Now he's thriving with a huge fan base and gets to do the work that he loves every day. John Mashney quit a high-paying job because his wife held an intervention. He wasn't the man she married anymore. He then made a complete pivot in his life and has now written multiple successful children's books, and you can just see the joy when he talks about what he does. I was personally terrified to quit my job and to go full-time into the creative industry, but my family encouraged me even when I wasn't ready myself. And now I'm the happiest and most confident that I've ever been. Sometimes we put ourselves through hell because we think we're doing it for the people that we love. Yet if we actually talk to them, we'll realise that they're probably going to support us to do what we want and to make ourselves happier. Your version of success doesn't need to look the same as mine. Yeah, I don't want you to feel the burnout that I felt chasing the wrong goals in the past. Take time to sit and reflect. What's the root cause of the negative feelings that you experience? What can you do about it? Are you using coping strategies to avoid addressing the real problem? What are your real priorities? Of course, use coping techniques when you need to reduce your suffering, but don't rely on these. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture. And don't use this as an excuse not to change the course of your life to the one that you really want. And I understand that some of you will feel financially trapped into a situation which you don't want to be. If that's the case, then fixate on it. Work out an action plan that will allow you to change your job or to change your career or to change your path, and do it one step at a time. Maybe you need to build a bit of savings, and that will help you. Maybe you need to build up some skills on the side, which will help you change career into what you want to do. The important thing is to try and work out these actions, try to work out what the best steps are for you. Because if you just ignore it, it's not going to go away. The problem will just fester under your skin. It's up to you listening today to decide what you're going to regret more. Is it trying and failing to do something which you love and could potentially make you happy? Or is it never trying and settling for a feeling of consistent burnout and being stuck somewhere where you don't want to be? If what's really important to you isn't what you're doing at the moment, then what steps do you need to take? And it won't be easy. There's many people looking to change their lives. There's many people looking to take a more fulfilling path. And what that means is you've got plenty of people for company. So don't give up hope.